which one are we missing? Did we not go in here? We did. Did we not go in here? We didn't go in the first one, did we? No, we did. Wait. Yeah, that's there. I don't get it. Haven't we gone through all of them then? How do we not have all 4 engrams? Ah, fraggin'. Friggity frags. What's going on? Is it because we already tried to integrate it? Yeah, we got those 3. Ah, once you go into one, you have to do it. Like, what it suggests is somehow we've missed picking up an engram, which we definitely didn't do. Like, we went into every node. Do I have to restart this whole fragging thing? Oh, I didn't actually pick this up somehow? And, okay. We did miss this one. Anticipation. The hall is long and ends at his door. He traverses the distance slowly, knowing he is being observed by his new underlings, and there it is, newly installed, shining like a mirror on a door made from real wood. The brass nameplate, Edward Sang, Vice President of Special Projects. Pride swells within him. Cool. That sounds good. Alright, now we got the engrams. We can do this thing. So, host engram file. Reintegrate host, so we actually get the options. So then we have Raymond as a young boy. Done. Raymond as a young executive. Raymond as a middle-aged man. Raymond as an old man. Reintegrate. Checking engrams. Engram integration success. Host reintegration process initiated. Release Raymond. The clean room echoes with your footsteps as you approach the capsule containing the assist surgical couch. Through the window you can see that the last 8 years have not been kind to Raymond Black. The trauma of the last few days is readily apparent, and the pasty pallor of his skin and the white growth of stubble on his chin make him appear far older than 65. He lies unconscious, his chest barely moving, his eyes are sunken and his jaw slack. He carefully applied gauze dressing on his balding head surrounds a gleaming metal port, a data jack. A thin bundle of wires runs from the jack to the device mounted to the capsule wall. Oh my god. Although his voice is small, it echoes loudly through the clean room. Ray? There's no reply. Crap, is he in a coma? Not in a coma. Raymond opens his eyes. Through the capsule window you can see his dreamy smile. Old. Tired. Hello, Mr. Nguyen. He must be disoriented from the assist programming. Looks like we got to him just in time. No time to catch up right now, Ranneko. We're gonna move. Hey, Ray. It's time to get out of here. Disconnecting Raymond from the assist device proves to be straightforward, as does getting him out of the capsule and onto the clean room floor. It's as if he feels as if he barely weighs anything at all. Lead on, Ran. I'll be right behind you. His breathing's a bit erratic, but he seems steady enough on his feet. You alone survive, fella. Oh, wait, no. Wait. Alright, go here. Activate robot. Robot, go here. Activate robot. Robot, go here. Izzy. Want you to run over here. Oh wait, no, not you alone survive, because the others. Come on. Fine. Duncan, you don't have more items you can use, so I guess you can run over. Gobbit. Want you to make Duncan faster. Donkey. Get over here. Alright. You and the bots are gonna put this guy down. Good. Ouch. Ray, stay back. Izzy. Let's not use something with splash damage, but also let's just mark that fella. You die. And you die. Everyone's happy. Except for the guards. Okay, let's get out of here. Alarms blare as you hustle Raymond from the Special Project section of Prosperity Tower, but you encounter no resistance. Raymond unsteadily gropes his way through the corridors of the corporate headquarters, holding onto your elbow for support. Occasionally the old man fingers the gauze dressing on his head with his free hand, wincing when he touches a tender patch. Tense minutes pass between the time you exit the building and enter the MTR station. The team remains on high alert, scanning the streets and buildings for signs of Tsang's security forces until, like a stream of cockroaches, you scuttle underground into the cool safety of the mass transit tunnels. You pay the fare, grab Raymond, and make your way to the subway platform, the sound of the old man's ragged breathing loudly rushing past your ear. Seconds tick slowly while you wait for the subway train to arrive. I still find it weird that we're getting public transport away from this. Just doesn't seem to make that much sense. Okay, so that's a bunch of sounds. That's hey plus karma kind of going up, but then we get a completely different scene loaded. The team hustles Raymond onto a subway car, quietly taking up defensive positions and scoping the platform for signs of pursuit. The old man is unsteady on his feet, but he insists on standing under his own power. He grabs a railing and holds on with white knuckles as the train lurches forward. A group of tourists sit nearby, conspicuously avoiding eye contact with any of you. Your crew looks over at the old man with the bandage on the back of his head, exchanging meaningful expressions. Raymond squints at the odd group surrounding him, but his nod indicates he understands he's among friends. Wu drags his goggles off his head, bending his knees to get a better look at his foster father. A tangled knot of relief, compassion, resentment, and hurt churns across the younger man's face as he wrestles with his confused emotions. Raymond, are you alright, little man? Fear for his father's health overcomes him. I fought against the reprogramming. The old man's voice is little more than a soft croak. His eyes are sunken and surrounded by dark circles. His mother's medical technology must be amazing. It's hard to believe he's walking under his own power so soon after the surgery. Yeah, well, Grandma's an amazing woman. Her high-tech brain surgery, her ownership of the cops, her execution of my partner and those runners, whose face hardens and stands up straight, glaring down at the older man. Oh, and the way she had the plastic-faced man snatch her own son. Amazing woman. She's a real piece of work, no doubt about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Apparently her son is, too. Pain and bitterness dripped from Wu's deep, raspy voice. This man, whoever he is, has a lot of explaining to do. Are you ready to start telling us the truth, Edward? The old man tilts his head up to the orc towering above him, and although exhausted, his jaw sets firm. Oh, sorry. Just inadvertently scared my cat. Yes, Duncan, I'm ready to tell you everything. I'd planned to explain it all to you when you arrived in Hong Kong. Yeah, our meeting was postponed due to kidnapping and murder. The old man's mouth purses, and his lips quiver for a moment, but he regains control. I never believed it had come to that my mother was capable of... He allows the thought to remain unfinished. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. Yeah, that's a point, Tracker. At least if you get in the train, there's no worries about parking. But on the other hand, you got to worry about, the train being stopped by the police. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. He seems to swoon for a moment, then inhales deeply, swallows hard, and pulls himself erect. My name is Edward Tsang. I'm the only son of Josephine Tsang, the CEO of Tsang Mechanical Services, heir to the company. Before I left Hong Kong, I was the vice president in charge of special projects, the up-and-coming star at the company. Was prosperity one of your special projects? Something you've never seen before washes over the tired old man's face. Shame. You've heard of it. Prosperity. I see. Raymond takes a deep breath, and the laboured croak of his voice drops to a monotone. I was part of a project my mother envisioned to rebuild Kowloon Walled City. A walking neighbourhood for underprivileged citizens, fully integrated with job training programs, co-op childcare, drug counselling centres. It was a new approach to low-income housing for the East, the springboard to prosperity for hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the place I grew up in. Mother personally... Raymond is 20 years away, doesn't seem to hear her. Mother personally oversaw every aspect of the project to ensure that every detail was executed properly. Chose each project manager herself, chaired regular status meetings with architects, builders, visited the worksite for surprise inspections. She was driven to make a renewed, revitalized walled city a success. Yeah, well, she didn't do too well with the whole prosperity thing there. Not true. My mother's planning was excellent, but the walled city wasn't a prosperity project. Raymond covers his eyes with a liver-spotted hand, the dread radiating from him like the stink of decayed meat. Prosperity was something I built at the center of the walled city. A moment later, an invisible grip takes a hold of your chest, constricts it, squeezing the air from your lungs. Your vision grays from the edges and the world surges backward, leaving you suspended in the distance, on the periphery of reality. Something is hurtling towards you, approaching from the fringe of your mind like a bullet train. It screams ahead, closer and closer, until it is upon you, overwhelming you with its presence, and then nothing. Silence. Until a scream pierces your consciousness, pulls you screaming to its source. You're back in the walled city, the city of darkness. Hey, animatic! Well, hello there. I think that's the spirit at the heart of the city. Your mind wrenches, inverts, and then violently jerks back into your skull. Your stomach cramps hard, and the taste of bile burns your throat. A thin trickle of cold sweat slides down the small of your back, and your eyes refuse to focus. Your crew fares no better. Gobbet pulls herself from the floor, madness and folly squeaking worriedly into the folds of her clothing. Isabel grips, railing her back to the group, retching silently. Racta leans against Cochet, his ashen face staring at the ceiling. He blinks rapidly, processing. Gaichu stands perfectly still in the center of the car, his hands at his sides, his face impassive. Wu breathes deeply, his hands on his knees. That wasn't a dream. He shakes his head like a lion's mane and spits on the floor. That was something else. It was a vision. Gub's breath is shallow. She's covered in a thin sheen of sweat. I saw some sort of machine inside the walled city. It was churning something. It felt wrong, impossible. I think it was ripping. I don't know. Reality. It was ripping a hole in reality. Something is here, my friends. Something has arrived. I believe we have just fallen in over our heads. What the hell was that, Raymond? No answer. Wu spins to find Raymond cowering, his head in his hands, shuddering and weeping. She's here. Breathe, Raymond, breathe. Shouldn't have waited. Shouldn't have hid. He looks up at you with bloodshot eyes. She's here, the queen with 1,000 teeth. Raymond rocks in place, hugging himself, staring past you at something only he can see. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. He has more beard now, the man? What? I don't quite get that. I guess the Yama King you were talking about there? Maybe? Yeah. Uh-oh. Looks like Raymond's gone bye-bye. Shh, Guppet. Isabel whispers her admonishment. Gently squeezes his shoulder. Edward, can you hear me? Prefer Raymond. Are we in the subway? Why is he stuttering? He's not. I used to stutter, and that doesn't sound like a stutter to me. Something else is going on. Could be the visions, could be the aborted brain surgery, or some combination of the two. Something bad is happening. Began a long time ago, and I'm responsible. The Queen, prosperity. The Queen with 1,000 teeth. These dreams, visions, they've been coming to you for a long time, haven't they? Oh, yes, I've been plagued by the nightmares for a long time. They began years ago, sporadically at first. Vague dreams, racked tight with guilt, with shame. Yeah, I guess the spirit did have sort of a beard-like quality to it, but I'm pretty sure that spirit's a queen with 1,000 teeth, so I don't think she has a beard. But probably part of the elaborate headdress. Raymond's eyes rolls back in his head, and he closes them tight. Until this last year when the frequency began to increase. Then the imagery clarified, started to repeat. Teeth. Thousands and thousands of teeth. And the sound of it, the sound of suffering, began to drown out even my waking thoughts. That's when I knew I had to come back. To do what? To correct a mistake I made a long time ago. My felt prosperity. All those people, those poor people. The Prosperity Project? You know about prosperity? Yes, sort of. We already covered this, Raymond. We know that it's in the center of the walled city, and Edward Sang built it. And why don't you start at the beginning, Raymond? Tell us what this is all about. The beginning, sometime in the 20s, my mother was awarded the contract. The contract to rebuild the housing development. The walled city. Well, yeah, from the results, I'd say your mum kind of blew it. Prosperity failed. I told you, the walled city wasn't the Prosperity Project. The Prosperity was a fortune engine I built at the center of the walled city. My special project. Fortune engine? What are you talking about? You can't create fortune, Raymond. Kinda can, Guncho. Some practitioners of Feng Shui believe they can do it. Ever heard of the Bagua of 8 aspirations? No, Gubbet. Must have skipped school that day. Me too, and I want to skip it now. Let's cut to the chase. Sure, Ranneko. You no need to know where the electricity comes from. You just flip the switch and it works, right? So, what does your fortune engine do? The fortune engine was designed to improve the balance of ki in a negative ki environment. A negative ki environment? Somewhere shitty, like a slum. Like a low-income housing project. I believed with the walled city, with the fortune engine, the rebuilt walled city might never become a slum. But the machine malfunctioned. Though you were an industrial engineer, how do you know how to create magic machines? I am. I also have several advanced degrees, doctorates in physics, Taoist alchemy. My mother pushed me hard to reach my potential. A doctorate in magic. Great. Something else we didn't know about you. You guys can work through your family secrets later. How did the machine malfunction? The mechanism I created to circulate negative ki in the walled city, it got stuck. Stuck on what? Raymond rises slowly, pulling himself from his crumpled heap. His tone turns instructive. The old Raymond, but this time his explanation is halting and weary. Think of the Fortune engine as a sort of propeller blade moving through astral space, circulating ki, keeping it fresh. When ki flows, when the rhythm is right, the results are positive, fortuitous. When I brought my mother my design for the Fortune engine, she embraced it. She more than embraced it. She bankrolled it, put an entire division of Sang Mechanical under me to develop it. Sounds like a big bet. The biggest of her career. Mother said that if the machine could bring fortune to the less fortunate, it would prove my theory. And if it could help the poor, imagine what a fortune engine could do for Josephine Sang. But that's not what happened, was it? Something went wrong. The people in the walled city didn't benefit from your fortune engine, did they, Raymond? The old man bows his head. He doesn't answer. Dad, what happened to your fortune engine? It got stuck. The mechanism I created to circulate negative ki in the walled city got stuck. Stuck on what, Raymond? The old man gets a confused look on his face. His lips move silently for several moments. Stuck on what? Something in astral space. I wasn't sure what. That sounds bad. The machine started pooling negative energy, and the walled city began to fill with it. Fortunes turned bad. I've been in places where the feng shui was really bad. That's not what I felt when I was in the walled city. No, ki needs to flow. Eventually, the enormous pool of negative ki became toxic. Fortunes turned from bad to worse. Much, much worse. Mother's vision for a rebuilt, revitalized walled city fell to ruin. It took only a few years for the trapped toxic ki to turn a brand new housing development into a hellish slum. Why didn't you turn it off? I couldn't. Something happened. Part of the malfunction. We couldn't turn it off. Why didn't you blow it up, wrap it in C6 and turn it into a scrap heap? Mother refused. Why? I never found out. She wouldn't tell me. She would only say it wasn't worth spending the additional resources to figure out how to fix it, or even how to turn it off. Oh, come on. Really? You haven't figured it out yet? Your mom's had an amazing streak of luck since that contract rose through the ranks. Saying mechanical services rose up through the corporate ranks in Hong Kong, basically. You don't get what happened here? You don't get that she fucking subverted your engine, made a deal with the devil? She sealed off the maintenance room. Our engineers poured a sarcophagus of thick concrete around it, so no one would ever find out what we'd done. And then she wrote the project off as a business loss and moved on like nothing had ever happened, right? Yes, after that I left Hong Kong. Started a new life in Seattle. Found you too. You should have stayed. Tried to do something about it. You were a coward, Raymond. Yes. Yes, Duncan, I was a coward. And the guilt, the burden of my cowardice gripped me like a vice that never loosened. It's eaten me from the inside for 20 years. And then the nightmares began. Horrible. Still, I kept working on the problem night and day. That's work that kept you in your study until all hours of the morning. It took me years, even after you left, to make the connections, find out what to do. But I did. I figured it out. And still the nightmares intensified, until they became unbearable. I knew I had to come back, fix what I had done. That's why I contacted you. To help me see it through. We mumble something, but all you can make out is the word coward. What about the rip in reality we saw in our vision? When the machine malfunctioned, when the circulator became stuck in astral space, it lodged in another domain, and something lived there. Not good. After 20 years of constant force, the circulator began tearing astral space, created a rupture in her domain, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through. Yeah, she's pushing through, all right. The queen with 1,000 fucking teeth, a thing you brought here, Raymond. I understand her, Mr. Wu. That's why I came back. I believe she's only partially here. She hasn't pushed all the way through yet. She's probing her new hunting ground. I know what to do now. How to extract the circulator, shut the machine down, before she can fully manifest. Help me get to the center of the walled city, to the Fortune Engine. I will do the rest. Help them. Alright, well... that machine has caused unspeakable misery. It needs to be shut down. Whatever the misery the machine has caused is nothing compared to what's going to happen now. It's not just a thing in there, Ranneko. It's a Yamaking, a demon goddess. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go back there. What we're trapped is, we can't run. And believe me, I want to. It's all I've been thinking of. But the APB is still out on us, and those visions, I get a feeling they're not going to stop unless we make him stop. And that fragile old man's the only way to do it. Gotta take him in there, gotta help him fix this. I, for one, wish to see this Fortune Engine. I am intrigued. I willingly go. I have the opportunity to kill a god. I cannot allow the opportunity to pass unanswered. I hate this country. I hate this life. But I owe you, Raymond. I'm not walking away from that. I intend to make us even. I'll help you fix your mess or die trying. Now we show up in Haoi, and it had to be part of this, right? The reason for that, fear grips the people streaming from inside the walled city. The storm isn't a typhoon, it's something else. The reason why it had to have loaded up AI is that, like, density of sound. And things don't look great here. And that's what we will find tomorrow. 26 karma. You know the worst part about this? I need one more karma. One more, and we get 4 AP drones. Without it, we just don't get there. We'll have to wait till the post-campaign DLC. We'll see if we can scrape something together by talking to other people. But we will do that next time. So, until then, have a great day.